What's going on, my friends? I hope you're well. As always, I'm just sitting here getting some music done here, trying to round out. I got to get my year ended. When you make commitments, sometimes musically, or you set goals, you really want to get them done. That's a whole part of this, and it feels good. I mean, sometimes if you're in production music or doing sync licensing, it may feel like work, but it's not if you love it enough. I still believe, and some may argue, there is an artistic form to this. You are writing music. You are doing things. You are, as Dave Croft put it very properly, or so well, he stated it. It's like putting a mosaic together of some things and kind of, building an emotion. You're trying to invoke that emotion. Emotion, what is the best word, is invoke. You're trying to create an emotion that fits a scene, and that's pretty much what that is. It's not meant for the viewer to pay attention to your music. It's to pay attention to the show, and your music is driving that emotion of what they're viewing. But I wanted to talk about that because a lot of people, there's a struggle between artistry and doing production music, and the struggle of, there are people that still fight with, I just can't do that. It takes away the artistic value. And when you're getting paid, it turns into a job, and I just can't do it, and blah, blah, blah. And you can separate the two. It's not that. The cool thing about it is if you got into sync licensing and you could make a living doing it, it affords you the time to be artistic all you want. Seriously, You're not putting 12 to 14 hours a day at a desk. I do it in a full-time hours into this. I bet I do other things. I would go crazy just sitting at this desk, staring at this computer 12 hours a day. You can't do it. You got to get up and take a break. You got to get up and go do other things. You got to take a brain break. You got to get your ears out of your music, and you got to just go do something else. And my point is, it's number one, there's nothing wrong with doing something else for, if it makes you money or something. If you happy with the living you make musically, you could just do something else you enjoy doing. It could be a hobby or something you love doing. Photography, art, I don't care what it is. Something you love doing. Volunteering over at the, food bank or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing examples. Just things you would enjoy doing. To go do something. Get your head out of it. And it's healthy to have a variety in life and do different things. You'll find that people in the music industry that are doing other things, they may have other businesses. They may work a job, and that's okay. Paul Croteau, hope I pronounced your last name right, Paul. I'm sorry, buddy. Yo Paulie, he said it. He has a full-time job. He's in the technology industry. There's nothing wrong with that. People love doing that. I was at a conference I think it was maybe 2019's conference. Maybe it was 2021. One of the guys there, he's really, I haven't seen him in a couple of years, but he's really big, very successful in this industry, and he does a lot of hip-hop, R&B, and stuff like that. And he said, at a panel, and the question came up, he says, people feel like they're being shamed because they have to work a job and do this too. It doesn't matter. I work full-time in a funeral home, and I love doing it. And, it's with people, just doing it with the people I'm around. And I do this because I have time to be able to do it. But what it does is it creates that buffer in life that gets you looking forward to going to do your music and going, I want to get up, get my music before I go here, or when I get home, I want to do it. And we're all different. Some people can do it when they get home. Some people can't because they're exhausted in their mind. Some people, it's best when they get up real early in the morning for a few hours before they head into work. And it's that sort of whole morning thing. I forgot you'd have to listen to Dave Croft talk about it because he embraces it. That whole morning, I forgot the term that the phrase or the term that they coined, but that whole miracle morning, I think it is. I think I got that right. But the whole getting up before the world gets up and it's quiet, and it's true. I mean, I already live quiet enough where I'm at. I don't hear a whole lot. I got somebody across the street. I got a neighbor, it's 1.5 acres, 2 acres towards the corner. Nobody's over here. Nobody's stuff back here. People live, but no one really, I don't hear anything, I hear a shotgun blast sometimes or guns shooting, people target shooting, but It's quiet, you know. But there's something about everything just gets quiet. You know, when you wake up, they always say when you first wake up, you're the most creative that you are as your brain's waking up, and there's nothing on it but the sole focus of that music in you. It's just a start. You're rested. Your energy is focused. Still nothing wrong with a good cup of coffee. I love my coffee. God knows. I never thought that all I'd be drinking is coffee and tea and water. You know, I used to drink Cokes and stuff all the time, which is not good for you. And, you know, you wreak havoc on your health and stuff. Sugar Coke, you know, at least that. But anyway, I digress. But you don't struggle with this. It's okay. You can do both. There's some people they get that wall put up in their mind about they just can't do it because it takes away my artistic and creativity and my emotion. No, it doesn't. Because there are people who write songs for film and TV that have creativity and emotion. You're writing the songs, you're writing the lyrics, you're writing it. You can turn that switch off. If you look at it this way, in your brain, flip the switch. Today I'm doing production music. Tomorrow, it's hard. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat this because, and I'm going to tell you why I've got on to talk about this and why I'm talking about this. It's very hard to do because I haven't done it in so long. But very little bits of the creativity. And I was thinking yesterday, because I think a lot when I drive, and I told you, speaking of jobs, and it's not really work to me. I'll be here doing music and I'll get a call. I deliver part-time with a medical courier company. They'll call me and say, hey, we got something going to Atlanta, you want to take it? Yeah, I'll do it. I've gotten my work done here, or I can come back and finish up when I get home. Drive to Atlanta, make $400 and come back home and a little extra money and do it. Meanwhile, I probably spend 6 to 8 hours sometimes a day here off and on in my studio, or 3 or 4 hours, depends on the day. That's the cool thing about this. It affords you the time to be able to do other things if you want to. It really does. Some people, I think it's the best way that you can make a living and a good living and be able to put more time. And if you really want to put time into music and grow this, find something that you're happy with that make a living doing that you can afford that, you know. I don't want to be mean when I say this because it reverts back to those stupid ads and people trying to sell a course going, you ever get tired of that soul-sucking job and you want to do music for a living and it's just like, oh my God, I've got it's too good to be true. I'm like, come on, dude. I don't see those ads anymore, but I think you've seen that ad and you know what I'm talking about on YouTube. But that's not the point. But the point is that, and I don't want to say it this way, you don't want somebody to dictate the time in terms of your life. When we're in a time and an age of technology and things that we can do by working at home or do things to make a good living and be able to budget our time to do what we love and do. Because if my mom's death in 2006 taught me anything, because my mom was an artist, but she was an educator. She loved teaching kids. She was a school teacher for 45 years or more of her life, 50 years. That maybe give or take a few years, I don't know, but a long time, is to never, ever, ever quit what you love and have a passion for in life. Don't ever do that. If you had to work 3 jobs, do it, because what you love and have a passion for is one thing you get up in the morning and you look forward to doing in a day. You may not do it every day, but you look forward to doing it. And it's a passion you love. Don't ever give that up. Don't ever make it excuses like, I can never do it because I have a job, right? Even if you have family. God willing that and hoping you have a family that supports you. You can make time. You can do this. So my thought on this was simply this, and I'm talking about this because the artistic side of me, I was thinking yesterday as I was driving, reverting back to it, I'm doing a little bob and weave like Trump loves to do, and some of these other people that you interview. We're getting back to focus here, folks. I'm sorry. The bobbing and weaving. My point is I was thinking yesterday that I really need to do an album of my own, and it's time. It's been too long. And my early albums were all like guitar instrumental stuff. I'm not going to say like Joe Satriani because it's different, but it's still, look at me and all the leads and the notes, stuff that wouldn't fit in production music. But if you took the leads out and put abbreviated melodies, it would fit. And some of that, a lot of that stuff has gotten placed because I've had the alternative mix and a lot of that stuff and sections of it that have gotten placed, and it blows my mind. Never thought it would be. Some good placements too, and stuff that's still getting placed today. because the verse 30 seconds of it was perfect for it, and I had an ending. And I didn't know that stuff when I wrote this stuff. Good solid endings. Remember in the 80s where they used to just, you'd hear a track and you're getting into it, and they would just fade the whole song out, and they're still rocking out, and the song is just fading away, going, there it goes. Wonder how it ended. You can't do that. Don't ever do that. By now, if you've been following people with production music, don't ever do that. Have a fade on that decay. Have a stinger ending. In other words, a good final chord and let that fade to, 5-10 seconds, something like a good stinger. A button ending if you're doing some things that just stop, like dramedy music. But if you're doing something guitar and you hit that last chord, don't just stop it. It's got to decay. It's got to fade. But anyway, I digress on that. I really need to do an artist album, and I need to I don't say I need to do this, I want to do it. I think in 2025 what I do is sit down and start writing parts and start doing that and just flip the switch. Because it's not going to lie, if you start doing production music and there's a protocol and there's structure, it can conform you and pull you away from what you love. But I will tell you this, if you do an album on the artist end of things that you love to do, mechanically, I think it's important that you focus on when you're recording it, that you convey it on media and record it in a way that an editor can get in and out of it. And I hate to tell you that, but you really need to, because a lot of people will write and they'll just start playing, and it's not that it's off time, but it's not on grid to where there's an editor going through it going, I love this track, but I can't get in and out of it because there's no point for me to cut without hurting the progression, or maybe it's in an odd time. And I will tell you that there are certain time signatures that editors, they don't understand it, but they pass on it because they can't get in and out of it. They can't deal with it. Some they can. It just depends. And weirdly, it seems more like an even to an odd, like 4/4s time signatures, 2/4. I don't know. I can't explain it, but there's some things that they don't understand. They can't do it. I'm not saying don't do different time signatures because people do it all the time, but you just need to focus on when you convey it. Have a good ending. Have points where naturally you're going to say, okay, we've got a good breakdown here, but we've got a good drop, a pause. Hit that chord as about 4 measures of 1, 2, 3, 4. You go back into the next part. You hear that all the time in music, and I think it's a good transition, a good break. Try to mechanically get yourself into those and do that when you do that. So that's the part of the separating the artistry from the mechanics of composing production music that when I get back to doing that, I have to focus on, which I probably will effortlessly focus on it because I'm so focused on production music, that the hardest part is me going back to the artist side and letting it flow. And then sorting it out when I go record it. And my whole point of this video, 13 minutes later, is that if you're struggling with the artistic side to the production music side, thinking it's work or something, it's not. You can flip the switch. You have to understand that it's music, and you have to love music. You have to love every bit of it to do it. If you don't love it, and I don't care what you do in life, if you don't love it, odds are you're not going to stay with it. And when I started playing music, if I based everything on money when I started playing music, I would have quit years ago because I didn't play music for money. I loved it. I figured out, eventually after a certain point of time at age that the rock star thing was probably not going to happen, and I was okay with it. It's weird because it didn't like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'll never be a rock star. My life is over. Who cares about that? Because that's not really, I realized that I just wanted to play music. And you can be a rock star and can't write music worth a flip, never do anything and play, or you can be a session player and that's okay. But when you write music, it's so much more rewarding. And if you can be a composer, if you can be both, it's even more rewarding. But there's a balance there in life. There's a balance of things. It's one thing to be a rock star, but it's one thing to be a musician that composes music and has a love for music. Just to be a rock star doesn't mean you love music. You see a lot of these guys that aren't happy, or they get out of music completely because none of it jived with them. They weren't happy with any of it. Or the record industry. I have friends that have signed major record labels, big ones, got screwed so bad. To this day, they still haven't recovered from it. And it's sad. It breaks my heart. There are some of them that quit music altogether. And there's a reason, I think, in life where things happen. I mean, one of them I know of. There was a band in the early 90s. Mind you, I cut my teeth playing music in Memphis, Tennessee, back in the 80s and the 90s, called Roxy Blue. And they signed with Geffen Records. They had Mike Klink produced the record, and I feel so bad. That deal, man, I don't know the whole ins and outs of it. I do know that it wasn't really good how they were treated. The guitar player's a dentist now. He went into dentistry, went to medical school. He's happy, has his family, does extremely well. I think he probably still picks at home, you know. Sid is an amazing guitar player. I don't know how long, I don't know if he still plays, but I guess he knew that maybe it just wasn't for him. The singer of that band's still playing. He's a great songwriter. Listen, Todd Poole is a great songwriter. He really is amazing. I just wish he would get into more of doing for media and TV. A buddy of mine knows him real well, has worked with him. He's a great songwriter, Jimmy Fulp. I love Jimmy to death, and I've got to call Jimmy because I want to get Jimmy in doing some production music with him. I want to sit with Jimmy. He's a drummer. Maybe do some rock tracks with him and let him do drum parts on it. And let's do that. It is my goal to sit with Jimmy Fulp and say, Jimmy, what's life like now? I want to work with you. I want to bring you in on this. Because Jimmy's had a placement with his old band and did a taxi thing years ago, but he didn't quite understand it. He called me 2 or 3 years ago. We were talking on the phone about that, and he was curious. And I think I want to touch base with him again, you know, because he's a great songwriter. He really is. But my point is I was thinking I really want to get back to do that, and I've got to sit down. I said it before, and it's on my goals. And I'm telling you guys, set your goals. You may think it's cheesy and like, oh, your boss tells you to do that. No, set your goals, guys. Something about writing down your goals is so prolific. I don't know what it is. I learned it when I owned a retail business. I did it because I was asked to do it on a corporate level when I worked for companies. And I got, in year 2000, I worked for a company. I was a copier technician, a field service technician for network systems. I worked on postage machines, fax machines, and, you know, networking now is harder, but not. It's easier now because it's peer-to-peer more so than a lot of the other stuff we did. Copiers started connecting to the internet. But I was awarded Toshiba's division there for that company, Technician of the Year 2000. Field service technician. And they gave me a huge bonus check. And one of the owners of the company did a speech on me. I'm like, my dad showed up and I didn't know he was going to. And I looked at my dad and I said, hey, you know, it was enough on me in my life for somebody to do a speech about me. And it was really cool. It felt great. I was like, oh my God. But he said, Chris was the only one that put his goals in for the year. And I was like, well, I guess I did something right now. It was great. But something about that, like I'll get on my iPad and I will set, I don't know if you can see this, you know, to do for the rest of the year of 2024. My handwriting is so horrible that probably looks like I wrote it in Japanese or something, or Chinese, I don't know. But I set my goals, man, and I do this stuff. And when you convey it and do it, it's important. Now, are you going to accomplish every goal? I can tell you right now, there are years you're not going to do everything. There are years you do everything. That's okay. Back up and punt. That's a whole part of this journey. Do that stuff. It's important. So I don't want to ramble and babble too much, but I just want to talk about that. People do struggle with that, and don't struggle with that. It's okay. You can do it. There's a lot of people on the internet that might be talking about this. Maybe they aren't, but I think that you can switch the two. Don't shut the door on it. Don't make it's evil. It's this machine. They're trying to take advantage of you. No, you're not. They're not trying to take advantage of you. There's an amazing opportunity right now to make money with music, with the film and TV and media. If you learn this business and you put the things in place and get your music to a point and understand it, it's rewarding. And what I want to do here this year, coming years, I think I want to sit down and just take point by point and talk about things that have helped me and things about learning. I'm not going to teach a course, but I'm going to talk about the things that can help you. And it will be my take on things. And what I encourage people to do that are maybe watching this that are very experienced and very successful is to add things, or maybe if I'm wrong about something, correct me. Okay, I can always learn something. I've been doing this since 2010, and I don't know everything. I'm not the be-all, end-all, but I will tell you what has worked for me. And I want to break down from start to finish some things, and I'm going to give you some recommended books to read and people to follow. I've talked about some of them already. Things that have, maybe some pitfalls that I've gotten burned on, some things to be aware of to not get involved with that could hurt you in this business too. So anyway, I'm 20 minutes in. I'm a little long. I'm getting off. I appreciate you guys so much watching. I got to finish up what I'm doing here musically. I've got some tracks I've got to get to a publisher here for the end of the month, and I'm 6 or 7 tracks out, and we are 4 days into it. That's how much work I've got. So will I do it? I don't know. We'll see. But we're going to get it done. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. And if you guys have just subscribed, thank you so much. A shout out to Jesse Josephson. Jesse, I love you to death. You're an amazing talent. You do such an amazing job over at Sync My Music. I will tell you, that's the one, spoiler alert, that's the one course out of maybe a couple. I know Dave Croft is another I encourage you to follow. But follow Jesse. And if you're looking to take a course, take Jesse's course. Follow Dave Croft at 52Qs, these two guys. Get involved and do that and learn this business. Be patient. But thank you, Jesse, for that shout out yesterday. That means a lot. It really does. I think none of us are where we want to be, but we're there. And I appreciate you. And I appreciate you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Be cool. Bye.